Hi, welcome. Just gonna wait for people to hop on. Hi. Hi, welcome. I'm just gonna wait for people to hop on. I spent yesterday on the phone and on calls with members of the House and the Senate, and I'm going to go over everything that I can about this looming government shutdown and what it means. And then you can ask questions in the chat as we go along. I'm going to try to explain it as best I can. There's a lot of moving parts, and there's some things that came up today that make this all even more complicated. So first I'll explain it this way. The House and the Senate need to pass a budget. And because they haven't been able to pass a budget all year, they want to pass what's called a continued resolution. So that kicks the can down to about mid-November. But they have to pass this budget. And in order to do so, they need 60 votes in the Senate. They can't do it just with Republican votes. So the House at this point should be sitting down and coming up with a bill that can win some Democrat votes in the Senate. But they're not there. They've gone home. They're not even planning on coming back until October 1st, and the government shuts down on September 30th. Okay, so that's one thing that they're doing that's completely wrong. Now, the Democrats have said, what we're asking for is that we keep the millions and millions of people that you want to kick off their health insurance, that we allow them to stay on their health insurance. And one of the main things that they're looking for are these federal subsidies that they cut to the Affordable Care Act. So we're talking about working families who are paying for their health insurance. Before we even get to Medicaid and Medicare cuts, these are people like myself who buy their health insurance on the exchange, pay a very hefty premium to begin with, pay co-pays when you go see the doctor and for prescriptions, and then you have a pretty hefty deductible. Without these subsidies, people's premiums will go up 75, 85, 95%. It's a huge jump. Mine personally is going to go up $20,000 a year. It's not affordable to lay out $20,000 on top of what I'm already paying. And that's going to happen to a lot of people. So the Democrats are trying to hold firm, saying, we need you to come to the table and negotiate with us because you need our votes. You can't just do this without us. But the president canceled their meeting with Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer and said, we're not even going to talk about it, even though he's supposed to be this great negotiator. And the House has gone home. Now, the House is in this position to begin with because Mike Johnson sent home the House early. I think it was like back in September. He sent them home early because they were pushing to get a vote on the floor to release the Epstein files. So he shut it down. So now they're in this position where they are scrambling to come up with a continued resolution for people to vote on. But now we have two things that have come up. Number one, Russell Vought, who is the author of Project 2025 and now head of OMB, Russell Vought has come out and said, if you shut down the government, I'm not only going to fire federal workers, but we're going to permanently close departments and resources. So they're threatening to completely destroy the federal government, which is the plan. That was the plan inside Project 2025. So we're not sure how legal it is for him to do all that, but as we've seen, they do lots of things that are not legal. So that could happen, okay? The other thing is that we are close to getting that 218 signatures, so that they can put a vote on the floor of the House. This is very complicated. So we have a senator, a congressperson who won the seat in Arizona for the 7th district. Mike Johnson is now delaying seating her because with her vote, we have the 218 signatures to put the vote on the floor. Once the vote is on the floor, then everyone in the House has to vote whether they want the files released or not. Now, here's the kicker. It has to go to the Senate, and the president has to sign it. So it's not a given that these files will just be released, but we will then have all of them on record saying they either protect the men in the files, including the ones at the top, or they don't. And so for all these reasons, the government may shut down on September 30th, because it's not just that they don't want to give Americans health care. Now they have thrown in this issue with maybe, keeping the files from being released, or at least going on record. So that's a big problem. And I know people are worried about a government shutdown. I personally think that we need to see, people need to see what's going to happen. We can't just let them rip healthcare away from people. People will lose their lives, and our healthcare system will collapse, because you'll have doctors' offices and clinics and hospitals that will close. So by the time the Democrats get back into office, it's going to take a lot to build that back up. In the meantime, people will lose their lives. So I know a shutdown is painful, but I don't see how the Democrats should cave on this one. And the Republicans will own it. Okay, they own the House and the Senate and the presidency. So that's one thing. Couple of things about the government shutdown. Now, some people get furloughed. So they don't actually, they can get their back pay, they can be brought back. Some people are considered essential workers, so they still have to go to work. They just don't get paid until the government reopens, but they do get back pay. So things like Social Security checks and the post office, Border Patrol, of course, air traffic control, those things will still happen. They just won't get paid. Other things like passport services, that will stop, which is kind of a pain, because I have somebody in my family who needs a new passport right now. That will slow down. Student aid, USDA food services, SBA loans, things where they're processing, when they need government employees to process. So if you have any questions about this, please fire away and I will answer them as best I can. The point I want to say, though, in all this is that from the calls I had yesterday with members of the House and the Senate, the Republicans really are, the Democrats really are willing to do everything they can to fight for our health care. There's a lot of things they did in that big, beautiful bill, which are awful. But this is the worst thing that they can do to people, and it will have devastating effects, and they know that. And so they're willing to take this fight as far as they can. So we'll have to see what Republicans end up doing. But like this whole thing with Russell Vought, basically threatening to burn it all down, that's not good. That's been his plan all along. But basically, I'm for the Democrats sticking together and fighting on this. There are a couple of Republican senators that are actually against this, like Josh Hawley. He voted for the big, beautiful bill, but he knows that his state cannot handle these cuts to Medicaid. He has said it over and over again, and he said that he would try to fix it later. Well, he might try to fix this later. I'm just reading some of the comments here. So I'm new to this, but I really want to say educated. What exactly do we think the government will shut down, and will it be a really bad thing? So the government runs out of money on September 30th. That's it. And so whatever funds they have left, they will continue to pay people. And there are certain things that are essential services, so they have to stay up and running. The people just don't get paid. They can get back pay, but they don't get pay. So things like the national parks, that might close down because that's not essential. But sending out Social Security checks and the FAA, those are essential. So those will last a little bit longer. Let's see, we must let it close. It's going to be hard, but if we don't fight back, we lose long term. I agree that if it's going to suck anyway, right? Whether the government remains open or it doesn't. If we all lose healthcare, if millions and millions of people around us, even if it's not happening to you personally, somebody you know, start to lose healthcare, people are going to lose their lives, and that will devastate this country and the economy. And so I'm not in favor of keeping a government open that's inflicting this much cruelty. I'm just not. So I'm happy that the Democrats are I'm just happy that they are finally fighting, and they seem to be together on this. Like I said, I had calls with the House and the Senate yesterday, and both branches seem committed to this, and they seem, they're a little worried that the general public isn't educated enough on exactly what this all means and what the Democrats are fighting for. And the Republicans will try everything in the book. They will blame this on Democrats when they need the Democrats for this vote, and they control all three branches of government. So it's very hard for them to blame Democrats. And right now, the Democrats are willing to take the hit. They need to shut it down as hard as it is. Okay, so I'm just reading. If anybody has any more questions, I'll wait a couple more. People have a little bit more questions. So it's really important right now that we educate everyone in our lives and we let them know what's going on. Somebody wrote, we need public marches all over the country. Yes, Indivisible is hosting another No Kings rally on October 18th. So please, they're going to be everywhere. They'll be in every city, in every state. They're going to be all over the country as well, all over the world as well. So find one and make sure that you go, because the Senate and the House also need to see that we support them and what they're doing. And so it helps to be around people that feel the same way you do, so we don't all feel hopeless and we don't want to give up. And I think that's, so please join the No Kings rally. The government will close because of the Epstein files. I agree. I think that is, that is the little wrench that has come in, because back in September when they closed down the House, they should have been working on a budget, but they closed the House down to avoid releasing the files. So now they're scrambling, and on September 30th, when the government runs out of money, they don't have time. They're not even at the House. They left. They went home. They're not even working on it, because Mike Johnson and a lot of them are getting calls from the president to tell them that resolution better not make it on the floor. So I know that the Republicans are going to spin it, that the Democrats are playing, dirty and playing all their games. And the Democrats really are in this fight for health care, but it's the Epstein files that's this wrench that's been thrown in right now. And I totally agree that I've been saying this for years. Never underestimate a man's desire to cover up another man's crimes. They give them the benefit of the doubt all the time. And the men in those files, they're still out there. Many of them haven't stopped just because Epstein stopped providing him with women and girls. They're still doing it. You need a nationwide boycott and everything on a working day. News from your country or reaching love from Germany, and stay safe. Thank you so much. I really appreciate a lot of the international support we get. But I agree that we need a national work strike. It's just very difficult for people to do it. And our country is so vast. It's such a large country compared to some of the countries in Europe. And even though I totally agree, I don't have a plan for how that will happen yet. But it may take that. You really have helped educate us all on the details that are not explained. Thank you so much. That's very sweet of you to say. I'm always here to do that. I want to try to go live a little more often, because sometimes when I see your questions, it's easier for me to figure out what people need to know and what they don't. Do I think Schumer will cave at the last minute, or do you think he will keep up the fight? I think Schumer is getting a lot of pressure from the party. I think he saw what happened last time. I don't know what's in his head. I mean, some people have the thought that we really should just let the Republicans take health care away from everybody and let everyone realize how bad it is. And they think that we should let the Republicans do all of the bad things they want so that people can see just how bad this country will be. And although I agree that some people need to actually see it, people will lose their lives. And so that's not easy to make that decision. And so it may end up that the Democrats lose this fight anyway, but they still need to fight. I don't know what Schumer will do. I hope that he holds out. I hope that they inflict at least some temporary pain on the Republican Party. They are already healthcare clinics and nursing fields that are already closing. Yes, There are already healthcare clinics and nursing facilities that are closing. My aunt received a notice today that her Medicare supplement insurance is going up $50 a month next year. This is real. Yeah, I have family members who are on Medicare and their notices have come in the mail that their insurance is going up, and $50 a month for someone on Medicare is significant. It means, you know, sometimes food, sometimes medications. It's a big deal. It's not going to be Epstein that topples this administration. It's going to be the economy. Many Americans are hurting financially, but Dems still need to fight. The economy is, I agree with you, the economy is in a really bad place. If the healthcare cuts go through, the economy will get considerably worse. The problem with some of these cuts to Medicaid, they're not happening until after the midterms. So the first hit is going to be for the people that are on the ACA, and that's not as big of a chunk of people as that are on Medicaid. And so that's the other thing, is that the Democrats have put in their bill that if you want to have those cuts, action was coming in bad. Basically the Republicans put in the bill that the Medicaid cuts wouldn't happen until after the midterms, so that, you know, people can just say, well, see, it's not the Republicans' fault. You know, the Democrats are now in charge of the House or something like that, because people don't know all of the details. And it's not everybody's fault, but it's our job, people who are watching here, to educate people in your life. So, you know, share my page, there's so many people out there that are sharing this information, especially since we've all been talking to the House and the Senate about exactly what's going on. So it's up to us to educate people in our lives so they know when these cuts come down, if they come down, who's at fault, that it was the big, beautiful bill. And I agree, we're in a bad situation. We have no control, but we can make things more difficult. We can slow things down. So thank you for keeping us informed. It's frightening what is happening. Thank you. I appreciate it. Dems need to find a message that resonates. We are here because they went astray. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. Okay. I'm going to go through. Okay. Unless anybody has any more questions, I'm going to end the live now. I will try to go live as often as I can. It's very helpful for me to explain it to you, and it's very helpful, I think, for you to be able to take this information and pass it along to other people. Please share this information so that people know what's going on. The Democrats in the House and the Senate will fight for us as long as we support them in that fight. So they need to know that we want our health care for ourselves, for our neighbors, for our family. And it's important that all of us, I don't care if you have 6 people that follow you, or you're not really online with people and you just go to the grocery store, or you just see people, in your neighborhood walking around. Just tell everybody you can about what's going on and what's coming up and what you're nervous about. Because when people hear stories from personal people that they know in their life, like if you tell somebody, I'm going to lose my health care, or my daughter is going to lose their health care, or my mother is going to lose their health care, that resonates with people a lot more than listening to the Democrats on MSNBC, which I love. MSNBC, some of the commentators there are okay. It resonates with people a lot more when they hear your personal stories. So please share your personal stories, and we will get through this the best we can. But you guys are great. Thank you so much. And I appreciate everyone's thanks for this call. So yes, and keep calling my representatives about healthcare and telling people, yes, keep calling your representatives, especially if they are MAGA. So have a great afternoon, guys. Thank you so much. And it's great. You guys are wonderful. See you soon.